Slendy, Ego, Slendy, hey, hit it out the park. Hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. I'm in Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, hey, you already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. But you know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 471 of the Talking for Irish podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here. It is September 18th, 2023. Not going to be September 18th, 2023 for very much longer. Almost 11 p.m. here. So for anyone that is watching this live on YouTube, man, thank you so much for doing that. On a night where Padres fans showed up once again. Padres fans have showed up all season long. And some of you that are showing up, choosing to show up tonight, thank you so much. And those that are watching on replay, listening on the podcast platforms, thank you so much. There's a lot to discuss tonight. Obviously, the Padres and the Rockies were playing earlier today. Padres, they knocked off the Rockies. It was closer than what it needed to be. The bullpen, a little bit shaky there. You know, Josh Hader, he ends up having to come into the game late. Because Luis Garcia had some trouble there. So Hader gets his 30th save of the year, a 1.26 ERA for Josh. But, I mean, I think the story of the night, other than the fans, and I'm going to get to you guys in a second, because you guys have been amazing all season long, I'm going to get to the offense. Obviously, the offense was the story. I mean, Campy going deep, I mean, swinging and, you know, on one knee, hitting that ball out. Eggy Rosario going deep. Garrett Cooper, I mean, that ball was down as well, and he hit that one to dead center, 2-run home run to give the Padres their initial 2-1 lead over Colorado. And then, you know, the Rockies, they got the lead back, but then obviously Campy with the home run, Eggy with the home run, Soto with the hard single to right. Eggy, he had a huge night tonight. I think he drove in like 4 runs total on the night. Let me check that here. Eggy, yeah. No, excuse me. 2 runs driven in. Campusano drove in 3. So Campusano and Eggy combined to drive in 5 runs tonight. Soto, a couple runs driven in. My underdog fantasy pick for today on my pregame thoughts was Soto half a single higher. He got a couple of those, and he got a walk. And I kind of threw that in there as an additional suggestion. So if anyone went with that, you're welcome a little bit there. Michael Wacha had the start tonight, 5 innings of work, 2 earned runs, no walks, 6 punch outs, little shaky, some hard contact. And it's kind of like him and Lugo. They've been slowing down a little bit here at the end, but I think that was a little bit expected. I mean, these guys, they were on the IL, and there were question marks going into this season about if they were able to last the entire season. Wacha, like, he's a starter. I was confident that he could continue being a starter, but there were those injury questions. And then with Seth Lugo, he started the other night, and that was more questions about would he be able to last as a starting pitcher this season. And he's been able to do that. I know he went on the IL a little bit there, but he's been able to do that. And he has outperformed my expectations that I had of Seth going into the season as a starting pitcher. So, as I said previously, I would welcome Wacha back. I would welcome Lugo back, partly because of where just the Padres rotation is at. And there's obviously plenty to talk about when the offseason officially comes around with that, and decisions have to be made on that. But some don't like Nick Martinez. I would welcome him back. I don't know about the $16 million part, the club option there, because I think if you're going to do that, then you need to have him be a starting pitcher like Lugo was this year for that to make sense. But I would welcome Nick back. I would welcome Wacha back. I'd welcome Lugo back. You know, Martinez, he's had a little bit of a down year compared to last year, but he's also had to kind of go back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. And I feel like, you know how Pedro Avila, he's been doing better out of the bullpen as opposed to in the rotation, starting games. I feel like Nick does, or at least he does better when he's pitching multiple innings. Just start him. If you're going to pitch him in the bullpen, okay, 1 inning and just have him go all out. But when you have him go multiple innings out of the bullpen, I just feel like he's maybe just not as comfortable as he is when he just starts games. So we'll see if the Padres bring him back and if his role changes in 2024. But getting back to tonight, Hader comes in after Garcia gets that final out, gave up a couple hits, but gets the final out, a 1.26 ERA on the season for Josh, 30 saves on the year. And as I was talking about with Jim Russell when he came on the show, I think it was last week, if I would have told you Josh Hader would have 30 saves on the year and a 1.3 ERA, right? Like a sub 1.3 ERA, what would you have told me? What would you think would have happened to this Padres team if I would have told you that at the beginning of the season? You would have probably said, yeah, Ben, they're going to be a postseason team. Josh Hader is going to have 30 saves. His ERA is like that. Yeah, because look at the talent on this team. But it just was not the case. Hader has not pitched in enough games, in my opinion, this season. Part of that is on the Padres offense, just not being able to put Josh in those save situations. Part of that is on the bullpen, not being able to hold leads. But part of it's also on, I think, the Padres and whoever makes that decision. Probably some of it is Josh. I thought he should have pitched in some more of those early August games when they actually had a shot at the postseason, as opposed to now when he's pitching. And sure, the ERA is still great and all that, but these games, in my opinion, don't mean anything. Like, even with the win today, the Padres' postseason chances are still at like 0.2%, according to Fangraphs. It doesn't do anything because other teams in front of them, I didn't check the scoreboard tonight, but they probably won. Maybe not all of them, but the Padres have to get over 4 teams and they have to like go undefeated the rest of the year. And those teams need to play like 500 for the Padres to make the postseason. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I just don't want any fans to continue to have their hopes up. I like that optimism, like to always have that optimism, but I just don't want you to any fans that if you do have optimism and you always want to have that optimism, I just don't want you to get your hopes up and then get really disappointed when this Padres team misses out on the postseason. That's all. But it was a good offensive performance tonight from the Padres. You look at the top of the order: Bogarts, Tatis, Soto. Bogarts 12th time leading off tonight of the season. He had 3 hits. Tatis 2 hits. Soto 2 hits. So top 3 guys in the order, they combined for 7 hits. Campy 3 hits. So Manny went over, but you count 4 of the top 5 guys in the order. I mean, look how many hits they had. That's a lot of hits right there. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 hits for those guys. Or wait, no. Math. Hang on. 5, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Not 12. 10. Sorry. Math, not my strong suit. It's late at night. But it was a good night from the top of the Padres order for sure. And Eggy Rosario at the bottom. I mean, he had a good night as well. But it's also the Colorado Rockies. They're 56-94. They absolutely suck this season. And they swept the Oakland A's over the weekend, but the Oakland A's absolutely suck. So if they were going to go on a winning streak, it was going to be when they were out of it, when they were playing the A's and the Rockies, and that's exactly what has happened. So it's not like things have been fixed with this Padres team. It's just, it's good to get these wins. Maybe it frustrates some Padres fans. It frustrates me a little bit because it's like, yeah, well, the talent, it's there. Why couldn't they do this earlier on in the season? Why couldn't they have a few of these 5-game winning streaks when they were still, actually in it, in these big series, and they were like almost at 500. Remember, they were 1 game under 500. Why couldn't they have had like a winning streak there to get over 500? And maybe something happens, that's just baseball just happens. They play better baseball. They're feeling it, and it just didn't happen. And, they're going to have fun here winning these games, and they should. Like, winning baseball games is fun. But obviously, it's temporary fun because then when we go home, we're like, oh, yeah, well, that was fun. But, I mean, look at the standings. It doesn't mean anything. 0.2% chance of making the postseason. I think I saw last week that Fangraphs has the Padres at a 0% shot of winning the World Series, but a 0.2% chance of making the postseason, which doesn't really make sense. Or maybe it's not a 0% shot for the Padres to win the World Series, but it's so small that Fangraphs like had to round it to 0%. I don't know. But the Padres, they're not making the postseason, obviously. Um, it's expected, right? It's expected that they went on a 5-game winning streak. Okay, so it's all great and all, but the main topics that I wanted to talk about today on this show: Padres fans setting the franchise single season attendance record. I'll get to that. Manny Machado expects surgery soon, anticipates a 6 to 7 month recovery. And then Kevin Acee, whether you want to believe him or not, he wrote something in his Padres daily newsletter about the Padres planning to curb spending in 2024. He said their projected target is evidently around $200 million, which that's a pretty big drop because if you go look on Spot Track or on Fangraphs, right now their payroll is over $250 million. Fangraphs and Spot Track, they don't have the exact same number when you look at them. And then there's different payroll numbers. There's like the base salary payroll total number. There's the luxury tax payroll number. I don't know which one you want to go with, but if you just go with, I think the basic, not the luxury tax one, but just the payroll one, it's over $250 million on both sites. So I'm just going to go with the 250 number. And let's say Kevin is correct here. Their projected target around $200 million. So you're dropping $50 million in your payroll. I don't really see that happening with this Padres team. I think that the payroll is going to drop, but just look at this. Snell, 16.6 mil this year. Let's say he doesn't come back. Okay. So you save that money. Hader, 14.1 mil this year. You save that money. Drew Pomerantz, $10 million. That comes off the book. Finally, thank goodness. Luis Garcia, 3.75 million. That comes off the books. Don't know if he's going to come back. And if he comes back, don't know if it's going to be for that much. So you add up all those guys, and that's not all of the players. Those are just some of the main ones. Snell, Hader, Pomerantz, those are the big ones. That's $44+ million coming off of the books. And then you got Soto. He's making $30 million probably in arbitration. If they have Juan Soto on the roster next year, I think they should. The whole 3 pennant races thing that AJ talked about when they acquired him, it's not going to be 3. Don't have it be 1. Let's try to have it be 2 next year. I want to see what this Padres team can be with Juan Soto on the team in his walk year. I think that could be pretty scary for the rest of the league. So let's say Soto's there. Well, okay, so $44+ million from Snell, Hader, Pomerantz, Garcia off the books. But you add 30 back on. Okay, now that's $14 million. What about if you bring back Michael Wacha for $16 million on the club option? Where there goes the money that from those guys that I just named, Snell, Hader, Pomerantz, Garcia, right? There goes that money by paying Soto $30 million. Well, I guess you got to factor in how much money Soto's making this year and then add the whatever more is how much $30 million is more than what he's making this year. So technically not, but you get my point. Like, even if they take all that money off of the books from those few players, you're still going to not have a payroll of $200 million because you have to go fill those holes somehow, right? I think they'd bring in some veteran starter to replace someone like Blake Snell or to replace Wacha, Lugo, and Snell if all 3 end up not coming back. So, you got to fill the hole somehow. And we know that the Padres farm system, at least the top of it, it's not strong in guys that are ready for next season on opening day. That's more like 2025, maybe end of 2024, maybe post All-Star break. I don't really see it as being opening day, ready to go, cheap salary like that. So I don't know. I just don't see how that $200 million number is actually factual. Like, that's going to end up happening. That might be what Kevin is hearing. Like, I don't doubt that is what he has heard from people probably in the Padres organization. Maybe he's talked to some agents and all that that have already had some conversations with people with the Padres about what they want to do in the offseason, whatever. But I'm just looking at the payroll right now, assuming that the fan graphs and the spot track number, those numbers are correct and the money coming off the books, but you got to go fill those holes somehow. I just don't see them getting to that $200 million number there. I mean, if they trade Soto, okay. If they don't bring back Walker, they don't bring back Lugo, they don't bring back Snell, Hader, Pomerantz, Garcia, that's a lot of money coming off the books. But how are you going to replace those guys? Are you going to replace those guys with guys that are making $700,000? I just don't see that happening. Like the Padres next year, at least I think Peter Seidler is still going to want to go all in on next year's team. Maybe again, not to the level of this year's payroll, but he's still going to want to go all in because, I mean, this season has been a massive disappointment and he wants to win. And he says that he does, at least that's what he said, I think, before this season started. He's not a big believer in windows, but you got to look at the facts. I mean, Xander's not getting younger. Manny's not getting younger. Soto could be there for his final season. And if you trade him, I mean, then he's not there anymore, obviously, at all. But I think that's a motivation to be like, hey, let's try this with Soto. And that's more motivation to continue to go all in because who knows if this is going to be your last shot with one of the better hitters in baseball on your roster, you know? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what Kevin wrote. Now, it is worthy to note, as was pointed out on social media, that Kevin also said last offseason, I believe, that the Padres had around $25 million to spend in the offseason to fill first base and left field and starting pitching, those holes. And what do the Padres end up doing? They end up giving Robert Suarez a big contract. They end up bringing back Nick Martinez. They end up giving Xander Bogaerts $280 million. They signed Michael Wacha. They signed Matt Carpenter. They signed Nelson Cruz. And you go on and on. It's like, oh, well, they spent more than what was wrote about there. So obviously Kevin's not, and it's not just Kevin, whoever writes about what the Padres offseason plans are, they're not Peter Seidler, right? Peter Seidler, at the end of the day, he's the one that decides the budget. I'm sure AJ Preller has a huge voice in that, and people in the front office have a big voice in that, those that really know everything about the payroll that is on the roster, right? But he's just making his best educated guess. But again, I think it's worthy to point out that last year, his educated guess, at least initially, I believe in the offseason, it ended up not being correct. Because AJ Preller, it's not like a knock on Kevin. Like AJ Preller, he's just unpredictable. So we can try to predict what's going to happen, but we don't really know what's going to happen because he's not. It's pretty hard to predict what AJ is going to do. And I'm really interested and fascinated by what he is going to do in this offseason because there's a lot of questions for this Padres team. Juan Soto, do you try to extend him? Do you trade him? Do you bring back Michael Wacha? Do you bring back Seth Lugo? Can you bring back Seth Lugo? Because he's probably going to have interest on the free agent market, right? What do you do with the infield situation? At first base, do you bring back Garrett Cooper? The catching situation, do you bring back Gary Sanchez? Do you try to bring back Blake Snell and Gary Sanchez? Trent Grisham, his future in center field. Do you want to move Tatis to center field? Is Jackson Merrill part of your plan early on in 2024? What are you going to do when, assuming Hader leaves with the bullpen? How are you going to improve that bullpen? Is Bob Melvin still going to be here in the offseason? Or is he going to be here for 2024? There's a lot of questions. Is AJ going to be here? I mean, I think we know the answer to that, but I guess that's a question before we talk about the roster. But yeah, there's a lot of questions. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was interesting about the Padres planning to curb spending in 2024, which it's expected because, they lost money this year because of the Bally TV deal going away and Major League Baseball. I think they paid the Padres, or they are paying the Padres 80% of what Bally was supposed to give them. So losing money there, obviously huge payroll. So I was expecting it to go down, but I just don't expect it to go down all the way to $200 million for 2024. Like that's a big drop compared to where the payroll is right now, So we'll see what happens. All right, quick break, and I'll be back to talk about Manny Machado. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. So, obviously, the big topic on the show tonight, title of the show, why hasn't Manny Machado had surgery yet? And that was a big headline for, the first game of the final homestand of the season. Before it, Manny Machado, he addressed the media and he said that he expects to have surgery soon, which confirmed Kevin Acey's reporting about Manny surgery being likely. I think Kevin reported that a couple days ago in either his Padres Daily newsletter or just one of his Union Tribune articles. I forget where it was. But he reported that. Then it gets confirmed here by Manny himself talking to the media. And he anticipates a 6 to 7 month recovery when he has this surgery. So is that going to be in the off season? Is that going to be in a week? When is he going to shut this thing down? I don't know. I'm going to play the audio here. I'll show the video for the YouTube audience via Marty Caswell here in a second. She does a great job in the clubhouse providing video for us Padres fans to really see, the players' reactions and, how they're saying things. So I'll get to that. But why is Manny not having surgery yet? I don't get it. The season's not going anywhere. And what is the point in him continuing to play? To boost his own numbers? Does he just not want Padres fans or baseball fans to be able to say that he quit this season before they were mathematically eliminated? Maybe that's what it is, but I maybe some fans would. I'm sure there's that one dude on social media that's going to do that and be like, Manny, you quit on the team before you were mathematically eliminated. Shame on you. But I think a lot of Padres fans, including myself, would be grateful if Manny decided to look towards the future for this Padres team and help next year's Padres team by getting surgery now. Because if it is a 6 to 7 month recovery, he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season if he has the surgery when the season's over, because the season ends, I think, October 1st. So let's say he has surgery October 2nd, right? So you got November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months, beginning of April. If you want to go 7 months, that's into May. I'm hoping this 6-7 month recovery time frame here that he talks about, that I'll play here in a second, I'm hoping that is him like being full go, being able to be at third base, throwing perfectly back to normal in 7 months or in 6 months. I hope that's what he means, not 6-7 months, and then he'll be able to just go on a baseball field again. And then he'd take another month to ramp up. I hope that's not what he means by that. I'm hoping it's 6-7 months to fully recover, and he'll be able to, swing a bat and all that, like, I don't know, 5 months in, 6 months in, whatever, 5.5 months in, whatever. And what I'm hoping here, 6-7 months, is for like regular athletes. Manny Machado, we know last year, like he rehabbed really quickly. He was playing through pain, but he rehabbed really quickly from that nasty ankle injury that he had in Colorado, where most people, it would have took a month, 2 months to recover from that thing. And he was back. How many games did he miss? Like 10, 11 games, I think it was. He was back really soon. It wasn't like full third base 100%, but he was back in the lineup DHing. And he was rehabbing his butt off. But I hope Manny's motivated going into next season, and he uses this disappointing season as fuel in the offseason to rehab his butt off after the surgery and push that recovery timeline from 6 to 7 months to maybe 5 months. Little thing, something like that. Some would say, 2 weeks, not that big of a deal, whatever, on a rehab or whatever, recovery. But let's remember that the Padres season starts March 20th in Korea against the Dodgers. It starts earlier than every other team in baseball, and those games count. We see how close this National League wild card race is this year. It could be that again next year, and every game is going to count. So, yeah, I'd like to have Manny Machado ready by Korea. Is that the end of the world? I mean, I hope it's not going to be the end of the world. I hope this Padres team is going to be able to be in the postseason comfortably next year, but that's definitely not a guarantee. Obviously, as we saw this year, I mean, not even going to be in the postseason. So yeah, I mean, I just when did he know? When did he figure out that this was going to be a 6 to 7 month recovery? If he knew about this like a month ago, because he's been dealing with this for like 3 months, I think is what he says here to the media. And I'm going to play this again here in a moment. He's been kind of dealing with this actually for like 2 years, is what he said. But when did he realize how long this recovery was going to be for the surgery? Was it today? Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it a month ago that someone told him, yeah, probably 6, 7 months recovery? Because if it was, then he should have had this surgery September 1st, like because now he's hurting the 2024 team. If he doesn't have the surgery till they're mathematically eliminated, let's say like in a week, I don't have the actual, magic number for them to be eliminated, right here in front of me. But let's say he has the surgery next Monday on the 25th, right? That's another week that you just wasted that you could have been back sooner, right? In this rehab timeline. And so, him missing spring training, I don't think that's like the end of the world. But there's going to be questions going into next season like, okay, is Manny going to be okay? How long is it going to take for him to get acclimated back into facing major league pitchers with the elbow? Is he just going to DH right when he comes back? Who's going to be playing third base? Who's going to be playing in the infield? That puts more pressure on some other guys. It's a ripple effect, So I understand. I think I said this on my pregame thoughts today. I understand and I respect Manny Machado not wanting people to be able to say, yeah, he quit before they were mathematically eliminated. And him hating to be on the IL, hating being on the shelf. I can respect that. But at the same time, I can respect also players like Darvish and Musgrove. It seems like at least they understand where the Padres are at. And they're not saying, no, I need to pitch. I need to be playing. They're saying, okay, it's best for the Padres to shut me down here, slow down my throwing here. It's just not worth it. And because I need to be healthy for next season. And I wish that Manny would do that. I liked what he said a lot today. And I'm going to play this here in a moment. I liked what he said a lot. Took accountability and all that. But this part here, it still irritates me that he hasn't decided to shut it down and just go get the surgery, because there's just no point in him continuing to play here. There's no point. They're not making the postseason. 0.2% chance of making the postseason. That's not a chance of making the postseason. That's Fangraphs putting that at 0.2%. They're giving you a chance because you're not mathematically eliminated, but they know that you're not making the postseason. Everyone knows that you're not making the postseason, except Manny Machado, evidently. All right, here is Manny Machado's full thoughts. Again, this is via Marty Caswell on YouTube. Subscribe to your YouTube channel. She's got this great Clubhouse access, obviously. And so, yeah, here is Manny Machado. This was before the Padres Rockies series opener.
Manny, just your initial thoughts first and foremost as you guys approach the final homestand of the regular season.
Excited, come out here, play in front of our fans, play some good baseball, and continue doing that this last homestand.
You and your teammates have been optimistic till the end about we're not till it's out, but now that you can see that the end is near, just your thoughts on how the season has gone and what hasn't gone right for this team.
Yeah, I mean, we believed all along, and we're going to continue to do that. I think we finally crossed a little hurdle that we've been trying to climb. Getting winning streak going, and it's better late than never. So continue playing, continue doing what we can. It's a tough task moving up forward, but we're capable of doing it. We've dealt with some adversity all year, so just keep leaving it on the field to the end.
Peter Seiler put a statement out today talking about the health that he's been dealing with. How difficult has it been to know what he's gone through?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we have Peter and the Seiler family in our prayers, and we're praying for him for speedy recovery. And knowing Peter, personally, I think he's a strong man. He's always positive, and he cares about this team, cares about the city, and for us to have him in his prayers, while he's going through this, and his family, keep up the hope, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery and a good homestand to finish off the year.
You guys have a very close relationship. I know you toured the clubhouse in Colorado last season, thinking about what's going to change around here. For you, how personally disappointing is it to not deliver for him this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all year it's disappointing year, and I take all blame for not performing to my best abilities, and honestly, not delivering to Peter, not delivering to this organization, and ultimately not delivering to his fans. I think we cut ourselves short a little bit this year. There's still hope. We still got 12 games left to turn that around, and that's what we're going to try to do here. And but yeah, it's definitely a bad situation, but we still got 12 games.
Before we continue with this, there you go. I mean, accountability for Manny. I love that. I like that accountability. Letting the fans down, disappointing season, puts, blame on himself. That's what I wanted him to do a little bit more in the Kevin Acee article, That's because it just felt like it was a lot of, it's not just an individual effort, it's a team thing. Yeah, we know that, Manny. I was wishing that with Kevin, he would have been just more like this. And maybe he was. As he talks about here, he's going to be asked about the Kevin Acee article. He didn't really want to discuss it more, but he was kind of like, I mean, not all my quotes were included in that article. So here's Manny again.
You had a pretty detailed piece about the idea of culture and chemistry in this clubhouse. Is there anything there that you'd want to address from that?
Honestly, there's nothing to talk about the story. I don't think there's any good or bad publicity to keep doing on this story. Everyone's always going to have their own opinion. At the end of the day, we go out there and play to the best of our capabilities. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's what it is. I think a lot of quotes of that story were left out, and everyone always has their own narrative that they're trying to persuade. And, ultimately is my responsibility that I didn't play. And I think the real point of this is, we didn't play good baseball. I didn't play good baseball. And, we let a lot of people down in this city, and, but there's still 12 games left to make up to it. And, at the end of the day, it was that. Just continue to play these last 12 games, leave it on the field like we've been all year. I think we're in a good spot right now. We're playing really good baseball. So we just got to continue doing that.
Man, you guys are going to set an attendance record this year. What does it mean to you guys? The fans have been so supportive.
I mean, I think that's what for me, I think it hurts the most is, we let some of these fans down. We let the organization down in a way, where we didn't win the division, which the expectation was that. So, knowing that, they've supported us all year. They've supported us through the thick and thin, and I know that they're going to keep supporting us no matter what. And that's why we have one of the best fan bases in baseball. And we're looking forward to this homestand, to go out there and win some games in front of them. It's the last one of the year, so ending it on a high note.
Manny, obviously, many of the core pieces of this team will stay the same into next season. What do you hope this group as a whole learns from this year, the totality of it?
I mean, honestly, I think I haven't even gotten that far. I think, that piece was written at a wrong moment where you really don't reflect on the season till the season's over. I think at the end of the day, it's, I can't think of what we can do right now. I think honestly, we're all going to learn from this. We're all baseball players. We learn every single year. We learn and we continue to grow. And it's going to be a lot of learning experiences from this year that we're going to take into next year. But ultimately, I think that's where we sit down in the offseason and reflect on the year and you look back on things. So from now, it's just a matter of thinking about these next 12 games and trying to end on a high note.
How are you feeling physically right now with the elbow and all that?
Yeah, not doing too great. I think as most of you guys will know, I kind of like staying away from the media about my injuries and just play through pain. But I think we're kind of past that point, and I've been dealing with the elbow for about three or so months. Actually, you really want to think about it, it's been 2 years. I think it's gotten to a point where I'm gonna go in the direction of having surgery pretty soon here. I think it's gotten to that point where you can't take that pain anymore. I think it's taking a hit on my performance, and whenever you can't perform at the highest level, it's tough, and you put the team in a bad situation. We're moving on with possibly getting surgery done and move forward.
How hard is that?
All right, so we'll continue this here. There's a couple more minutes left, but it's like he knows, he's admitting that his performance has taken a hit, and he usually doesn't like talking about injuries to the public, to the media. He likes to just play through them, and I definitely can respect that. Like, no one cares work harder. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, or like, I mean, you're making millions of dollars, and anyone would love to be in your spot. Your job is to go out there and play baseball. Like, I respect Manny wanting to be out there, but he's admitting, like, his performance has taken a hit. And you add that to the fact that the Padres aren't in it, their season's over, and this recovery timeline would be 6 to 7 months, which would take you into spring training and take you possibly into the 2024 season, which starts again March 20th in Korea. Doesn't start when everyone else starts. It does start earlier against the Dodgers. You take all those things into account, and it's like, why are you still in the lineup? Why were you in the lineup tonight? What's the point in you DHing tonight? How much value are you bringing to a team that's not going to make the postseason this year by playing hurt? How many other players in baseball that have decade-long contracts with their team would sit there and still continue to play when their team is out of it, instead of opting to go get surgery so they could help the team next year when they're actually in it, because everything is reset to 0-0 as the record? Like, Manny, maybe he views this as him being a team guy here and being a leader because he's trying to lead by example. Hey, you play through injury, no excuses. You don't miss time. Don't take the easy route and go on the IL and shut things down. People come to watch you play. You don't do that to the fans, whatever. Okay, I guess I can see that. But the good example would be, hey, when the season is over and you're a vet and have a long contract with the team and you're a super important part to the team, you need to look for next season. You got to look towards the future, because you can't change what happened in the past in 2023. This season is a lost year. So how about go get the surgery so you can be back sooner, instead of continuing to play in these meaningless baseball games and set back when you return for next year. That's all he's doing by delaying this. That's all he's doing. And so again, I go back to that question of, okay, so when did he learn that, it's 6-7 month recovery time probably for the surgery? If he learned it recently, I mean, you should still not be in the lineup. You should just go get the surgery. If he learned it a month ago, why didn't you get the surgery on like September 1st or something? Or I'll give you a little bit. What about like a couple weeks ago? September, let's say a week ago even. Because again, that's like now a week more that he has pushed it back for him being able to return. And maybe he doesn't get the surgery till the 25th or October 2nd when the season's over. You continue to push this thing back, and it's just not helping the 2024 team. which is what should be Manny's priority right now because the 2023 season is down the drain.
For someone who posts every day like you, just to come to the admission that you have to have something like that done?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to avoid it as much as I can. It's tough, and we're trying to look at different ways where we could try to fix this. We've done shots, we've done therapy, we've done recovery, some rest, and none of those have worked, and they kind of failed. So next alternative was surgery. We're trying to avoid it as much as we can, but unfortunately, it's just put us in that situation. And you know what? It's probably gonna make me better. It's gonna make us all better, and get it done, get ready for next year, and come back and be healthy.
Is this something that if you do have the procedure, would you be able to be ready for spring training? Or?
I hope so. Yeah, I think we've been pushing it a little bit too long. But
Manny. You just said, I think we've been pushing it for too long. Let me replay that.
And come back and be healthy.
Is this something that if you do have the procedure, would you be able to be ready for spring training? Or?
I hope so. Yeah, I think we've been pushing it a little bit too long.
I think we've been pushing a little bit too long. So you're admitting that, yeah, you're probably playing too long with this here. So why do you keep playing with it? That just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand that. Where is the logic behind that, Manny?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably about a 6 to 7 month recovery, and hopefully that puts me in line to start the year off next year.
Could that happen before the end of the season?
Possibly, yeah.
You expect to play until elimination is official.
To plan what?
To keep playing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna continue to play until we're out. I think we finally got 4 in a row. I think that's a good thing, and we got 12 left, and we went out, which we're all capable of doing. We'll see where we do it, but yeah, until we're out, we're gonna continue doing it. But at some point, it's how much can I do for this team, and I think surgery is probably one of the routes that I got to go with, and I hate letting my team down late, don't like putting myself in this situation. I hate the DL, I hate everything, so it's a tough one, but ultimately it's what's best for me and what's best for the team, and what's best for moving forward. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's a possibility that I do it before the season's over or even after. 2 years, yeah, it's been going on for 2 years. So I kind of that off, did the recovery stuff, shots, trying to avoid the surgery, and obviously it's been like 3 months now that I kind of fired back up, and I just wasn't able to kind of calm it down in a way.
All right, so that's it for Manny there. I mean, I just don't get his logic. I just don't understand it. Like, he's admitting that, yeah, probably pushed a little bit too much. Yeah, elbow's not in great shape. 6-7 month recovery, but then he's saying he thinks he'd be ready by spring training. What? So the recovery time frame doesn't line up then. So the recovery time frame that he's telling us isn't accurate then, because spring training starts in February. So just doing math here, October, November, December, January, February. Well, that's 5 right there. 6 is March. 7 is April. So maybe he's just going to rehab quicker than this time frame, and he'll somehow be ready for spring training. I'm not really concerned about him being ready for spring training. It's more about him being ready for the games that count. And I want him to be ready by March 20th. And maybe if he had the surgery a couple weeks ago, he still wouldn't be ready for March 20th. Who knows? But it would improve his chances, and he'd probably be in a better spot for when they get back to the United States for 2024 and play their season. Why hasn't Manny had surgery yet? The question of this show. Because he doesn't want to let the team down. They're not mathematically eliminated yet, so he's going to keep playing. Somehow he thinks that they can win out. Like, that's just not going to happen, Manny. Sorry, have you not been watching this team? You're not going to win out. And even if you do, don't know if you know Manny, but there's a lot of things that have to go your way as well with other teams not playing well for you to even make the postseason. So it's just not happening. Musgrove has already been shut down. Darvish has already been shut down. Like, the Padres are doing things with other important pieces of this organization with the thought that our season is over. We got to look towards next year. And you obviously have a huge voice in this Padres organization, so you're allowed to make the decision on your own. But take a clue from the Padres organization. They don't believe in this Padres team, or else they wouldn't have shut down Joe Musgrove. They would have tried to keep him alive and keep him throwing, so maybe he could come in and pitch an inning in a super important spot at the end of the year so they could try to get into the postseason. You know? But that's not what has happened. So just take a clue. We're not going to bash you. It's okay. I know you're not listening to this, but I'm acting like you are. It's okay. We're not going to bash you and say that you quit on the team. Like, we already know collectively as a unit, at times, the Padres, probably including yourself, have quit at times when you're down in games. But we're not going to say that you quit on the team at the end because you shut it down and went and got surgery when the Padres were out of it and they had a 0.2% shot at making the postseason. We're not going to bash you for that. I trust you. Excuse me, I should say not I trust you. Trust me. Trust me. We're not going to, at least I'm not. I'm not going to bash Manny for going and getting surgery. I'm going to praise him for getting surgery and shutting it down before the season ends. Because that's the right thing to do. All right. I'm going to get to the chat here in just a moment, but there's a couple other things here that I wanted to hit on. Padres fans, we hit a record in the series opener of this Padres Rockies series. Padres fans set franchise attendance record in a single season with over 42,000 people in the stands for Padres Rockies, the Xander Bogaerts shirt jersey giveaway. You know, this team obviously not going anywhere, but Padres fans have continued to show up. And so props to us. Props to you. Props to Padres fans. Some of the best fans in the world. And I really do mean that. Thank you all for showing up this season, creating a great environment at Petco Park. I know this Padres team has been disappointing this season, but like Bob Melvin said earlier this year, I think he said earlier here in September, Padres fans are the MVP of this season for the Padres, and that is so true. And I mean, just seriously, thank you all for the support on this YouTube channel. It's continuing to grow, and I really appreciate the support. Those that come in the live shows, those that watch the replays, those that watch just the clips that I post, those that watch not just the Padres content, but the other content, those that follow me on social media and interact there, those that come up to me at Petco Park, everyone that comes up, positive things to say, just Padres fans, I can't thank you enough. Because I would continue to do this if I didn't have a significant following, because I just love the Padres. And if I can impact and entertain one person, it's worth it. But seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the support this season. Thank you for the support that you've had in past seasons, the support you'll have hopefully in future seasons. And not just about me, but thank you for going out to Petco Park and supporting the players and investing your time in Peter Seidler's team that he spent a lot of money on this season. Like, understanding what Peter Seidler has done to this community and giving that back to him, like giving that support, that love back to him, back to the Padres organization, you know, showing up, starting at Fan Fest and continuing to show up even when things were not going good, and we disagree on things sometimes. And sure, there were boos at Petco Park from disappointed Padres fans, and rightfully so, but we kept showing up. And so, seriously, props to Padres fans. And I don't want to I don't want to speak for Peter Seidler. I mean, he already spoke as himself in a statement before this Padres Rockies series. But thank you, just thank you for showing up, because those atmospheres at Petco Park have been great this season. I know there's been times where I've said, man, Petco just seems dead, but that's not because of Padres fans. That's just because of the product on the field. You know, it sucks. It sucks that this is what has happened this season, but Padres fans continued to show up. And so, again, props to you guys. It wasn't just the Padres that earned this single season franchise fan attendance record. No, it was us. We showed up. We continued to show up and support this franchise, even when things weren't going great. And hopefully it will continue in 2024, and hopefully only better things will come. You know, this Padres team will be better in 2024, and hopefully can live up to expectations. Hopefully they can contend for the National League West, or at least just go make a postseason run. I think that would make us very happy. There's nothing like postseason baseball at Petco Park, as we saw last year. So again, hopefully in 2024 it's going to be better. But I just wanted to thank Padres fans. Take a couple minutes to really thank you for everything this season. And I'll be here through the off season, no doubt, not going anywhere. Consistent shows is my plan, consistent videos out there. And I love interacting with Padres fans. So I'm going to continue having that link out here on these live shows, giving you guys the opportunity to come on the show and talk, because I value this Padres community. I don't want to be a show where it seems like I know way more than everyone else on the show, everyone who's tuning in. I'm talking at you. I think I'm above you. No. I want this to be interactive. I'm along with you. I'm just another Padres fan that just happens to have a show, and it's just a platform where we can talk about our favorite team, you know. And JD's third, he's another guy here. It's 11:50 at night, and this guy's still watching. So I appreciate this. I appreciate JD's third with the super chat here. Ben, you're the best Padres YouTuber ever. I don't know about that, but thank you so much for that. JD's third. He has been someone that I've disagreed with at times this season, but he is consistently in the comments. He is consistently in the live chat. And there's a lot of people that I can shout out that are consistently in the live chat, that are consistently in the comment section, that are consistently out there on social media. Those that have stopped me at Petco Park this season to say something nice. So to all of you, no, seriously, to all of you, thank you for the support. Definitely wanted to say that. And for those that missed Peter Seidler's statement that he made earlier today, I can read that here real quick. I did post a video about this earlier today. It was updating his health, and thanking Padres fans. He was another one that thanked Padres fans today. Here is the statement. To our loyal and passionate Padre fans, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your amazing support this season. Your love for the Padres and our players is both motivating and humbling. We have the best fans in baseball. I want to share a brief personal update. Last month, I underwent a medical procedure and am now on the road to recovery. I am grateful for the dedicated medical care that I have received and the loving support of my family. Although I can't be with you at the ballpark for our remaining games this season, I am watching them all, and I look forward to making some noise together again in 2024 and celebrating the 20th anniversary of our beautiful ballpark. So again, that's Peter Seidler. That was the statement that he made before this Padres Rockies series in the morning. And that's Peter Seidler for you. Like, I think he's someone that isn't just like doesn't care about the owner, or doesn't care, I should say, doesn't care about the fans. And he's just like, well, just the general, thanks for the support this year, whatever. That's just millions of dollars raked in that goes into my wallet. I'm not going to go reinvest that back into the team or actually care about the fans. I'm going to go relocate the team. No, no, no. I think Peter genuinely cares about San Diego Padres fans, about the city of San Diego, what he's done outside the Padres with the homelessness stuff that he's doing and all that. So it just seems like he's actually like a really good human being. And we know, anyone that knows Peter Seidler, his health history. So it's not super surprising that he underwent a medical procedure. Don't know exactly what it was, but that's personal. So it's not like I'm like demanding him to say anything about that. Just wishing him well, obviously. We'll see if he is healthy enough to give a post game, or not post game, a post season, end of season, look back, reaction, what's next. Because I think, as I said in my video earlier, Padres fans, they want to know what's next. Is AJ Preller still excellent? Is he the guy? If not, who is? If he is the guy, why is he? Why should Padres fans still have confidence that this guy is the guy? Do you believe in Bob Melvin still? If there's a change there, why is the guy that's coming in better than Bob Melvin? How are you going to fix some of this clubhouse stuff that is reported? What are your thoughts on that? I think Padres fans want to know that. And so we'll see if Peter does talk at some point. Definitely not rushing him. Health is obviously more important than a baseball team. But a lot of Padres fans just probably want to hear from Peter. So we'll see when that happens. But obviously, wishing the best to Peter Seidler, no doubt about that. All right, another super chat here from Nancy. Oh, very generous, very generous. Almost $20 super chat here. Nancy says, Ben, you are loved. Thank you so much. Yes, Nancy is another one that has been in the chat. I could go on all night long about people that have been in the chat. There's people that I disagree with, but there are also people that I agree with. And even if I disagree with you, there's no hate. It's just passionate baseball talk. And I just appreciate anyone that is spending time, watching, listening to me talk about the Padres. I mean, it's pretty crazy when I think about it. The support that I've gotten. I when I look back on this, in a few years ago when I started this, and I was just literally recording my voice on my phone and just uploading it as a podcast, and then I started recording myself on Zoom and just posting a video of that on YouTube, and then it's obviously grown more into more of a show like this, and having some sponsors and having a live chat. uh it's gone a long way, and I just wanted to keep getting better, obviously, and continuing to give consistent content, because I pride myself in that. Like, the the want for Padres content, San Diego sports content from San Diego sports fans, like, that doesn't stop just because the Padres aren't doing well, just because the Padres season ends and it's the off season. Like, I'm not someone that feels like taking this like month-long break or 2-week long break or anything like that. Like, there's stuff to talk about. There's a lot of intriguing things to talk about. So it's definitely going to be a full off season for sure. Even though this team has frustrated me this season, I'm still going to miss having the baseball games every night, because that's just part of your life, right? It's just part of your life. Spring training, it feels like spring training can't come soon enough for next year, because then we'll have that hope again. Like, okay, we can reset 0-0, right? But yeah, it's pretty crazy, looking back on it, but definitely continuing to put stuff out. I know there's some other people that are on YouTube, and maybe they haven't been doing it as frequently or whatever. Maybe they have been doing it as frequently. I don't know. I don't follow everyone that does it. I just know what I'm going to do, and what I can promise to you is I'm going to continue putting out stuff I'm going to continue interacting with Padres fans and San Diego sports fans. That's not going to stop because this is what I love. This is what you love. So I don't really plan on like taking a break or anything like that. Like this isn't this definitely is not a job for me. Like it's something that I love to do. And so again, thank you everyone for the support. All right. Let's go continuing through the chat here. I'm almost like an hour behind on some of these comments here. Mike says raise ticket prices and then curb spending with all the holes on this team. Yeah, that's going to go over real big. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to curb spending. As I said earlier, I don't think they're going to curb spending to like $200 million. Like that's a big drop compared to where the payroll is at right now, right? I think that the curb spending is maybe going down to is 220 reasonable? I think 233 is one of the tax thresholds. Trying to get below that is probably like curb spending is what the Padres probably mean by that. I just don't see them getting down to the $200 million number. But yeah, I get the point. I get the point, Mike. Nancy says, can someone give Manny a razor? His weird facial hair isn't doing him any favors. Just a thought. Yeah, I think Yaine, his wife, is probably, I mean, she's probably tried to be on that, but Manny's going to be Manny, you know? Maybe she likes that. I don't know. But, you know, some people, that's just how their hair grows. You know, they can't really control that. So, um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Manny comes in spring training clean shaven or something. I don't know. I think Crony did that. He comes in like clean shaven, and then you know the beard kind of grows into going into the season. Iron Swan says, "I wonder if there's going to be a reshuffle in leadership if Manny doesn't return for spring training." Well, Manny, I don't think he's just going to not show up to spring training. I think he would show up to spring training and just not be playing in games because he probably should be around the team. Yeah, so I don't know. I think Xander, I think, you know, to your point, Iron Swan, I think Xander will take on a bigger leadership role next year because maybe he went into this season not wanting to like step on any toes or anything like that. And he didn't really know his role in the Padres clubhouse. But now that he's a year in and he knows what some of the problems were probably in the clubhouse this year, he can probably be a better example, better leader for next year. So maybe there's a little bit of like reshuffling there. Because I think Xander is one of the leaders of this team. But I think Manny's going to be in spring training. Maybe he's just not playing in games, but I think he's going to be in spring training. All right, continuing to go through the chat here. JD's third says Manny said some fans were let down. No, Manny, all fans were let down. That's true. Yeah, that's true. JD's third says Manny didn't refute anything in the article. He had his chance with AC, 30 minutes speaking with him. Yeah. I mean, so part of what he told Marty Caswell and other people in the media today was, well, not today, I guess yesterday, because now it's 12:01 a.m. My bad. Yesterday, you know what I'm saying. What he said was some of the quotes that he said weren't in the article. But what I would reply to that with, to Manny, is, I mean, Kevin's job is to write what he thinks is most important from your quotes. He's not going to put everything that you say. There's a limited space in the newspaper. There's a limited probably number of words that he feels like is okay. You know, like at some point, enough is enough on a story. And I mean, you said it's not like he made up these quotes about you not thinking culture is that important. Is this high school? Is this college? Right? You admitting that, yeah, we just didn't want it bad enough compared to other teams this season. He didn't say that. You said that. And so his job is to get quotes, put the most meaningful, most interesting quotes in there, and that's what he did. He's not going to put an entire 30-minute conversation in in one article. Maybe if you put the interview on camera, he could post the entire 30 minutes, but that's not what Kevin does. He doesn't, he's just there probably recording on his phone with like voice memos or something and listening back to the interview, taking notes while Manny's talking. That's probably what he does. He's not in there like Marty Caswell with a camera. You know? He's off, and everything that's on camera, that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that is said to the media. Like other reporters, they talk individually with players. So, I guess all I can say to Manny on that in reply is like, well, of course he's not going to put everything that you said. That's not what a reporter's job is. It's not to put in an article every word that you said. I thought Kevin did a fair job on it. Like I said the other day, I think I've said it multiple times. I think Kevin did a pretty solid job on that. Let's see here. Iron Swan says Ben cooking today. About what? About Manny? JD's third says Ben spitting facts. Ben has the gloves off tonight. Love to see the fire. Iron Swan says most optimistic guy taking shots at some questionable decisions. I mean, am I? Do I have the gloves off tonight, JD's third? I don't know. I mean, I think this has been my thought the entire time with Manny. Ever since surgery was on the table, it's like, I mean, the season's over. Like, at what point are you hurting next year's team? Right? Like, don't you want to win next year? You're not winning this year, so put your best foot forward towards winning next year. And your best foot forward is you being healthy next year and being able to be ready at the start of the season. And this 6 to 7 month timeline, it might shrink and be less, and that would be good. But if it's 6, 7 months, I mean, that doesn't line up with you being ready full go for the beginning of the season. It just doesn't. Let's see here. Apollo asks, from the current roster, who's leaving and who's re-signing / extending? I'm aware of Snell and Hader, but what about the others? Well, the ones that come to mind for me is I'll go around the diamond and then go to pitching. Gary Sanchez, free agent. What's going to happen there? Ha-Seong Kim, 1 more year of control. Would a trade be on the table? I don't think so. Juan Soto, 1 year of control. Is a trade on the table? I'm sure we're going to hear some rumors swirling about that. Trent Grisham, he's under contract, but what's going to happen there? Garrett Cooper, I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. Are they going to bring him back? I don't see G-Man Choi coming back. Obviously, Rich Hill's done. I know I just hit on a pitcher, but that was just part of the trade deadline return. If I go to some people on the pitching side, Lugo, Waka. Lugo has a player option. He's just probably going to go to free agency. We'll see what happens there. Waka, there's the $16.5 million club option for 24 and 25. Those have to be taken at the same time. So we'll see if that happens there, or if Waka, I believe if the Padres don't give him the club option, he can take player options for 3 years. I don't think he has to take them all at the same time, but if he takes the player option for 24, it allows him to be able to take the player option for 25. If he takes the one for 25, then he can take it for 26. Right? Like, so we'll see if he does that. I don't see him doing that. I think he'd get a multi-year deal from someone, but would he get 3 years? He could get 3 years guaranteed from the Padres. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, Snell, Hader, Garcia is a free agent. I'm probably forgetting some other people. Nick Martinez, I think it's a club option for $16 million, kind of like Waka. If the Padres want him to be a starter, they probably would want to pick up that. If they don't pick up that, then I think Nick has like a $8 million player option, somewhere around that he could pick up, or just go back to free agency. We'll see what happens there. Profar's a free agent at the end of the year. I'm probably missing some people. I'm not looking at the payroll right now. Those are just off the top of my head. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Pomerantz, he's a free agent. He's done. So we'll see. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit. We'll get a lot more into that in the offseason. Don't worry about that. Oh, yeah, JD's third. It's 1:50 a.m. for you. Okay. Even more props. Go to bed. Stop watching me. Go to bed, dude. Let's see here. Charlie says, I can't even say my own name. Ben has grown before our very eyes, folks. I could remember long, long ago, around June, Ben was a very vocal Preller supporter. Look how time has changed. Well, look what has changed. I mean, months and months and months more of losing. And I'm just tired of it, I wanted to give him the deadline to, make the right decision, trade Snell, trade Hader, and he didn't do that. And him making those little smaller additions, that didn't work out. At least worked out good enough. And you wasted Snell and Hader's last seasons before free agency, and now you're going to get probably draft picks for him. That's it. So, yeah, another failure of a trade deadline for AJ. Failure of a season for AJ. There's been a lot of failures of seasons with AJ as the GM and president of baseball operations. I know that a lot of these were rebuild years, so that's not really fair to be like failure of a season, all of these failure of a seasons. But when you look at the record, I mean, it's the track record's the track record. And if Peter wants to start judging him in 2020, well, guess what? 2020, they got bounced by the Dodgers after, they won the wild card series against the Cardinals, but they got swept by the Dodgers. The next year, they collapsed. And then 2022, let's be honest, they kind of barely got into the postseason, went on a run. But then this year, Seidler allows you to spend a bunch of money. You bring in Xander Bogaerts, you bring in some other big name players, and you get Tatis back. Fan fest, the hype for this team, right? People picking them to win the World Series, and you're not even going to make the postseason. So there's been a lot of disappointment, even since 2020. There's been disappointment, 2021 and 2023 now. Made the postseason 50% of the time. Is that good enough for Peter Seidler? Making the postseason 50% of the time in 4 years, and one of those was a short season. Who knows if the Padres would have made the postseason if it was a full season? Because there was injuries there in 2020 with Lamet, right, and Clevenger, right? Ryan Weathers had to make his debut in that DS against the Dodgers there. All right. Continuing to go through the chat here as it's past midnight. Charlie asks, Ben, real talk, does Preller survive this season in your opinion? Yeah. In my opinion, he does because it's Peter Seidler's choice. And I don't think Peter Seidler's going to make a move. I think he trusts AJ. Does part of this have to do with his health and just not wanting to have to go through a new hiring and all that? I don't know. But he trusts AJ Preller. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think Seidler sticks with Preller. If I was Seidler, I'd probably move on, but I don't have the keys to the Padres franchise. So yeah. All right, that's going to do it, everyone. Talking Friars episode 471. thank you all for the support again. I know I talked about that earlier in the show, but seriously, thank you for the support. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your day if you're watching this on a replay or listening to this on the podcast platforms. Reminder, code Talking Friars, $20 off your SeatGeek order. Check out Breaking Tea and Foco, some great Padres and San Diego sports stuff there. And I'll be back probably Wednesday after the Padres Rockies finale to talk about this Padres Rockies series and anything else that comes up in Padre land. So 12 a.m. signing off. See everybody.